Okay, in this video we're going to be covering the roundhouse. Okay, in this video we're going to be covering the roundhouse kicks. Now, if you've ever watched a Muay Thai fight before, you'll notice a roundhouse kick is the primary thrown technique, especially if you watch a Muay Thai fight in Thailand. Kicks score very, very highly, but also we can do a lot of damage with the roundhouse kick, landing with our shin. So that's the main thing we need to know when throwing a roundhouse kick to start with, especially if we're crossing over from another martial art. In a lot of traditional martial arts, we're kicking with either the foot, being the top of the foot, or the ball of the foot. So making sure we're kicking with the shin. This is the hardest part of our foot. And when we're kicking in Muay Thai, we're putting full power into it, rotating our hips. So to start with, the way we teach everyone to throw the roundhouse kick here at Invictus is we teach everyone to make sure that everything happens from the ground up. The first thing we need to do is make sure we're pivoting our foot. So there's a couple of ways we can do this. We can either pivot as we step, or as we throw the kick, I drive up, turn my toes off to a minimum of a 90-degree angle. Now, for some people, we're going to have a little bit of restrictions through our flexibility and mobility through the hips. If that's the case, go to the stretching series, what we have here on the online content, and go through the drills to improve your flexibility. But back to the kick. So, we like to teach slow. If you can get it slow, we're going to be able to get it fast. If we just start trying to practice with full speed, we're going to be missing all the little intricacies of this kick. So, as we kick, the right arm, just like with our teeps, is going to come down to help us counterbalance. We want to make sure, also as I throw, my weight stays above my foot. I don't want to lean back too much. So from here, I'm going to throw a few slow roundhouse kicks to about body height. To start with, we like to get our students to rotate all the way through, just to really teach our hip rotation. One of the other things you want to look for when you're doing this, if you have a mirror or you record yourself, is that our shin turns. We don't want to just be doing this. I'm not hitting with my shin if I'm doing that. I want to make sure my shin turns from where it is now to a horizontal plane. Now, once we have mastered that, the next phase is to only spin halfway through. So as I throw my kick, I stop here, and then I come back to my stance. That's most likely how we're going to return to our stance in a fight, as it can be quite dangerous, depending. I'm not saying spinning all the way through is a bad thing all the time, but we want to limit the amount of time we've actually got our back turned to our opponent. If possible, avoid it completely. So once we really start getting this kick, we can transition it to the bag, making sure, kicking with my shin, rotating, pivoting my foot. Now to start with, we like to, again, don't put too much power into the kick, just feel it, get it right. The next thing we want to start thinking about is driving up onto the ball of our foot. That's just going to give us a little bit more extension, a bit more power into our kick. Also, it's going to help with height if you struggle with flexibility. So as you're throwing your kick, if you can see my foot, I'm making sure I'm driving up onto the ball of my foot. Now, the left kick. To start with the left kick, we like to teach it just from a southpaw stance. That way we don't have to think too much. There's not too much input or output that we have to work on. We can just focus purely on the kick and not have to worry about the switch, which we've already covered in our stance section. So from here in our stance, we've just got to mirror everything. Right foot turns, we make sure that our shin goes from vertical to a horizontal plane, and we rotate the hips through all the way. Again. Once we've got this, then we add in the switch or the step. And one little tweak to make this switch easier is as we switch, instead of having the foot facing straight forwards towards our opponent, turn it side on and pivot it already. That just cuts out one extra thing that you have to do.